Women's reservation bill has been passed by the Lok Sabha with a whopping 454 MPs voting in favor of this legislation, which grants 33% reservation for women in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies across the country. What a historic moment certainly it is for women of India, as this legislation will finally see the light of the day. Tomorrow it will be taken up by the Rajya Sabha and then it will become a law. So, as we play that breaking news on NDTV, I am being joined by Ami-Ben Yagnik, Member of Parliament of the Congress Party. We also have Shazia Ilmi of the BJP joining me. We also have another guest from the Samajwadi Party. But first, a quick reaction from the women MP herself, Ami-Ben Yagnik. Historic day, a day to celebrate for one and all, not just the women of India.
Yes, a historic day. We have been waiting patiently for this, and I think we have given what the women of this country deserve, and that is a participation in the affairs of the country, in the governance structure of the country, in decision making, and to give them a dignity which they deserve immensely.
Yes, certainly. Women of India deserve better. They deserve political participation. And this is the only way gender inequalities can be bridged. All those issues that women have been facing can be addressed through policy when they are part of lawmaking, and they have to be in the Lok Sabha. So for 15 years, women will be part of the Lok Sabha, of course, but they have to wait a little longer. Sunil Prabhu is joining me. Sunil, what a day, what a day. You would have seen it in 2010 when it was passed by the Rajya Sabha. Finally, it has been passed by the Lok Sabha, and then perhaps tomorrow is the day when it will become a law. Go ahead, Sunil.
That's right. Of course, as we speak, the process is still on technically. But the that's the formal procedures. But technically, as you said, a historic day, and what a day to start in the new parliament to get a constitutional amendment with the more or less unanimous support, 454 votes in favor, only 2 members of parliament belonging to the AIMM, that is Mr. Owaisi's party, who have their reasons because they want Muslim minorities to be given representation and various other concerns that they have, and that's the reason for it. But definitely a historic moment, a great day for India's parliament to begin on, and of course, as we said, it's a long road ahead. This is a small baby step. Once the Lok Sabha passes it, it goes to the Rajya Sabha, and then of course the President will sign off. Once the commencement of the Act, we'll have to wait for the next census data to be released. Once that census data, and as you are well aware, the present census data hasn't started because of the COVID from 2021. So when it does take place, which will be after the 2024 elections, that process is over and the data is released, which could take a long period of time. We will then have to wait for the delimitation to be by law as well as by notification issued. It's a quasi-judicial process which will go across the country to engage in this entire exercise, and then of course finally they will decide on the seats that will be represented, and as you saw today, politically most political parties for the first time the Congress making a big change from 2010, saying that they would like to see OBC reservation for women, and that's become a new talking point for the opposition India Alliance, because that's been their focus, to have a caste census and then to give better representation for the OBCs in the real spirit. So it's definitely been, and if you saw today the speeches, even though there was political wrangling.
Since you're talking about the voting, which is still on, and yes, it has been passed, 454 for the legislation, which is the amendment of the constitution for ensuring 33% reservation for women. The Congress party and various parties which form the India bloc talked about OBC reservation within this 33%. But let's talk about the process. This is the first time that voting is taking place in the new parliament, in the new Lok Sabha. Were there some technical glitches as well, or how did the numbers actually flash?
Well, it's very simple. We must tell our viewers it's the new parliament. Technically, we should have been with the new technical age, but you have to issue divisions. Each political party has to assign numbers to their members, and it requires the Lok Sabha Secretariat to issue divisions, which hasn't been done in the present case because of the short span and less time. Once that is done, then of course it will be done all electronically. If you recall, in the old parliament, there used to be also a lot of glitches that used to take place, even though there was a German company that was brought in and everything else. This time round, in the new parliament, they have taken care of these issues, but because of the fact that the divisions haven't been voted, it's being done by slips manually, and that is why it's taking a long process as we speak, and it still continues till, of course, it's finally over.
All right, Sunil, thank you so much. We are watching history. This is history in making in the new Parliament of India. And Shazia Ilmi, welcome to the special broadcast where I'm coming to you from Vijay Chowk in the national capital. Shazia, your thoughts? It was to happen. Since 1996, various houses passed it. But, getting it passed in the Lok Sabha requires that political will and, of course, the strength as well.
Many congratulations to you too, Maria, and all our viewers, all the women out there, their families, and that makes it an entire humanity, so to speak, that resides in India. I would like to say it's a small step for women, but it's a giant leap for womankind. It goes a long, long way. And I think I can't imagine that we're actually witnessing this history in the making. It has just happened. Imagine how much we have thought about this, looked at all the loopholes that have prevented this legislation, and now it's actually done. Lok Sabha has actually passed it. So it is really overwhelming and fantastic. Also, I would like to say that though there was an effort made to sabotage even this, and the same parties which were at play at that point of time, which used everything, every nasty measure that they could to ensure that the passage of the bill is obstructed, tried it again this time. Strangely, Congress party also fell in with them. I don't know what is the compulsion of the Congress party to sing the same tune, because this is exactly the reason. The demand for quota within quota was exactly the same reason why the bill wasn't passed the first time around. So, and also one more point that I want to make is the bill that the Sonia Gandhi wants to take credit for, which was passed in Rajya Sabha, did not ask for all the provisions that she was asking for. So clearly,
I knew you would bring in the credit war. I knew you would bring in the credit war. We also have Nahid from Samajwadi Party. But just a quick recap for our viewers. The Women's Reservation Bill, which grants 33% reservation for women in Lok Sabha and state assemblies, has been passed by the Lok Sabha with a whopping 454 votes in favour and 2 against. And these 2 are the MIM MPs. Remember, the last time it was in 2010 when the UPA managed to get it passed in the Rajya Sabha. At that time, it was with 186 for 1. But it failed to table it in the Lok Sabha because there were protests by the Samajwadi Party, the JDU and the RJD. Today, Samajwadi Party is on board. They are on board. They realize the time has come for women to be present and their political representation to increase, Nahid.
No, certainly all women wanted that there should be reservation for women, and certainly everybody is happy about it. But when we talk about gender equality, then we must also talk about social justice for women. Now, in this bill, 54% of population, that is the OBC women, they have been totally ignored. Injustice has been done to them. Now, when amendment could be done in the bill and they could bring about amendment for SC/ST women, then why couldn't they do the same amendment for OBC women? Now, it's clear that BJP is an anti-OBC party. The very foundation of BJP was laid on 6th April 1980 on the basis that OBC, SC/ST cannot become the Prime Minister of the country, be it in the case of Honorable Chaudhry Charan Singh ji or Honorable Babu Jagjeevan Ram ji. So BJP is an anti party. BJP is an anti. Just let me complete.
Okay, so you have this charge. Yes. Shazia, you are facing the charge of being anti-woman on the day that that the BJP ensured the passage of this legislation.
At least let me complete
It's so sad that I have to hear from the likes of Nahid whose party actually made sure that women do not get their due. It was, after all, Samajwadi Party MPs which tore up the bill the first time around, and it made sure that for 30 years women are deprived of the place that they deserve to be there. So shame on you, Nahid. Thank you for not tearing up the bill this time. Thank you for not tearing up the bill this time. But listen, people can see through the shenanigans. Please ask Dimple Yadav.
The question
Please
about
ask, let me
OBC
finish.
was also raised by Rahul Gandhi. Let me bring in Amiben Yagnik on that point. The point is that across party lines, except for MIM, everybody has voted for the legislation. And Amiben Yagnik, you have been involved with the panchayat, women in panchayat.
Yes.
You've seen the, what it does to women at the grassroots. And now the OBC category women, this is something which is a matter of concern.
See, when I think you heard Honorable Sonia ji speak in the parliament, and she said that there should be reservation for SC, ST and OBC. Now a time has come that we should have a census, we should have a caste census, we should find out, and we should give every woman her due. Why today is not a day to argue or make submissions on these kind of issues? There should be reservation for all the sections of women, and there should be dignity, or there should be a place carved out for them if we are giving reservation. Let's not belittle this kind of an issue right now. Today there has been victory as far as the reservation bill is concerned. The vision of Rajiv Gandhi was taken ahead by Sonia ji. We had in 2010 the bill passed in the Rajya Sabha. Of course, we are late by so many years. Despite a majority government for the 9 years, we did not have it tabled in the Lok Sabha. Let's not get into that.
Just
today,
a quick recap, because today is history in making that we are witnessing. Earlier, both Prime Minister Vajpayee in 1998, in 1999, in 2002 and 2004, and H.D. Deve Gowda in 1996 made efforts to pass the bill, but of course they did not really succeed. Yes, go ahead, Shazia.
So what I'm saying essentially is that we have to thank Samajwadi Party for not having, for not tearing up the bill. We also want to ask Sonia Gandhi the question that she's very proud of the fact, and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary did mention it when the debate began, that how come that Congress Party had already passed it in Rajya Sabha? Why didn't Sonia Gandhi think of adding this provision in the bill that was passed earlier? So what stopped her then, and why is she talking about it now? Is it only because BJP is passing the bill that Sonia Gandhi failed to pass? And also, she could not build consensus on this. She built consensus on the nuclear deal. Did she not? Women were not worth it? Were women not worth making a consensus on? Could she not have reprimanded Samajwadi Party and JDU like she did the last time around to fall in line? But she did not. So it's a matter of great shame. And as for Dimple Yadav, making it about wanting to divide women further, I want to ask Dimple Yadav, why doesn't she start by giving up her candidature and making it about regular Yadav women, daughter of a poor Yadav family? Dimple can start with herself. I would also like to ask all these people out there, and there were many women out there, who come from privileged families. Don't you want reservation to be there for those who do not come from political backgrounds? Who don't come from fiefdoms, political fiefdoms? So I think those are very important questions that must be raised. Where is the path? How do you get regular women with talent, with leadership qualities to make decisions instead of the same old families? So I think the less
Since
Dimple
you've
Yadav
asked
and the likes
questions to both the Congress and also to Samajwadi Party, let me bring in Nahid now. Nahid, go ahead, respond.
BJP is totally ignoring a large population, a large chunk of population, that is 54% OBC women. How can you ignore? How can you give injustice? How can you be so unjust towards this large amount of population? 54% population you are ignoring. And she's talking about
Nobody's ignoring.
Dimple Yadav ji. No, Samajwadi is one party who made a woman stand against Mr. Modi in 2019. Now will Mr. Modi give up his candidature from Banaras and let a woman contest elections from Banaras?
Not Dimple Yadav. The good constituencies will be for other regular women, not for women of the family. Nahid. We are smarter than that. We have studied UPM. Don't give me bunkum. We know more than that, which is why I'm calling you out today on your lies and your bluff. On your lies and your bluff. Stop using women. Stop using women for your politics. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Stop dividing women. We know what Samajwadi Party stand has been. against women, and I am very upset about it. So please, no, Nahid, spare us this talk. Please,
You
we
don't know what people talk
know which
about.
party you come from. It's a matter of shame that women like you come and defend because of people like you and your party. This is not see the light of the day. 3 decades back, we could have had it. So Nahid, with what you have gall to come and talk, and OBC women, who's done maximum for the OBC. And
if I'm
and
not
you know,
allowed
what stops
to
you
speak,
from stops
we have,
you
we,
from
we
stops
also
you
have,
from giving
we,
tickets to
one
OBC
moment.
women? What stops Congress party from giving tickets to OBC
Fine.
women? Why don't you have an internal constitution that says from now onwards,
NDTV.
33%
Fine.
of
Be
all
on
the
your ticket
candidates
today.
from
Ami Ben
BJP
Yagnik.
This is
are
not
from Congress
Ami
women?
Ben Yagnik here.
What stops you?
Today is
What
not a
stops you?
day to bicker about these issues. I think the women of this country are looking at us. The parliamentarians have supported the bill, all of them, most of them, and minus the two you said in the Lok Sabha. And the women are feeling so elated. The country's women are thinking that yes, today is a day for them. There will be enough time to discuss about how it is going to be within the reservation. But let the women at least enjoy this moment, not let us belittle the victory by even bickering on this. Definitely the vision has been of Rajiv Gandhi, and that is why we have got 1 lakh Sarpanch women today in the country. And that is the minister's statement on record of the floor of the house. And we have got at least 15 lakh women who took part in this Panchayati Raj. They came out. They empowered themselves. They got the dignity. They are sitting there in decision making. Let this bill come into action and let the women take part in this and let them be a part of the decision making of the country's governance.
Okay. I would ask all the panelists to stay with us because we have a special guest joining us now from Chicago. Najma Heptullah, former deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha, is also joining me live. Ma'am, what a day certainly. In 2010, I remember you along with late Arvind Jaitley and late Sushma Swaraj held a press conference after the bill was passed by the Rajya Sabha. Would you share the memories today as we are seeing history unfold in the Lok Sabha? The bill has been passed by the Lok Sabha.
Yeah, I remember it. And I also remember when the first bill at the panchayat level reservation was defeated by 1 vote at midnight. I went home and cried. I was very sad that 1 million women were getting empowered and just irresponsible opposition at that time defeated. Then it came back again after Rajiv ji died. Then nobody brought it, and Narasimha Rao brought it, and then it was passed. So I'm a witness from the ground level reservation for women in my years in Rajya Sabha.
Yes, ma'am. The bill remained in the cold storage for 3 decades. Do you think India of today, that is of 2023, is best placed to ensure that women get their due, which is 33% reservation, that important political representation that we keep talking about?
It had to be passed, and I don't know why it could not be passed earlier. And it remained in the cold storage because we want women at higher democracies also to be part of decision making. In fact, after the bill was passed, I thought the political parties will get conscious of it, that the women's decision making is also very necessary in political decisions. Their opinion is very important. But they didn't do anything for all these years. I'm happy that Modi ji brought it, and I hope that once these women are elected, because I used to be very depressed seeing very few women in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha.
All right, Najma Abdullah, really appreciate your time on this day, which is certainly going to be remembered by women and men across India and the world for several years now. Let me take final comments from Ami Ben Yagnik and Shazia. Shazia, today is not a day of bickering. Today is not a day of a credit war. It is a day of just saying that it was long overdue, and finally, after several efforts by multiple leaders, there is women reservation which will happen, which will become a law tomorrow.
Absolutely. Like I said, a small step, it might seem like, but it's a giant leap for womankind. And I think it will go a long way in securing women's positions solidly at where they deserve to be. And this was lacking. Political empowerment, having women out there at Vidhan Sabhas, in Lok Sabha, making decisions for the country, for the states, for the administration, for governance, everything that matters to them. So I think it's I can't believe it's happened. Actually, it will take time for it to sink in. But I really want to say that it's huge, it's momentous, and I want to salute all the leaders who have paved the way for this bill to now become an act, and to see what it means and the rewards it will reap for all the young women out there who really need to represent India at bigger levels, at higher levels of power.
Okay, Ami Ben Yagnik.
Yes, I am so glad that there was legal empowerment through right-based laws, and I think the UPA time has given several laws where women have strengthened themselves and legally empowered themselves, and social empowerment also has taken place. And with information technology, I think there's a technological empowerment also, but political empowerment was missing. And it started with the local panchayati raj, where women have been sitting and discussing about whether their wells should be water recharge should be there, Boriband wells should be there, or Boriband should be there, and what kind of decision should be taken at the Gram Panchayat level. Today, the women of this country will feel glad that they'll be a part of political empowerment, and they'll be sitting in the political arena taking decisions.
You're already sitting there. Shazia perhaps will be joining you soon.
Yes, but still, I would be very glad for all the women of this country.
Absolutely.
I would just love all my women sisters to be politically empowered. Whoever wishes to be politically empowered has today got an opportunity. And that opportunity is dignity.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Shazia Ilmi and Ami Ben Yagnik here. So let's look at now the challenges. How will it be implemented? What about delimitation, census? All these are criteria before it can be implemented. We'll be speaking to constitutional experts after a short break, so don't go anywhere. So when will this become a reality? In the sense that does it have rotational system? There are several questions that are unanswered. I'll try and decode that with the two constitutional experts who are joining us live on NDTV. But before that, a quick word from Dolly Verma, who is serving as a Sarpanch in Gaya district of my state, that is Bihar. Dolly, आदाब, नमस्कार. सबसे पहला सवाल आपसे ये होगा that history has been made. It's a process. Tomorrow is the day when it will be passed by the Rajya Sabha. If you look at the numbers, 454 against 2, nobody can afford to oppose this bill. Tell us about your own experience. अपने experience के बारे में बताइए.
Yeah, it's a historic day, and I am very happy for whole country. We have been waiting for this for last 27 years, and when I see that, I can look forward to become MLA or MP now. It has become easy in terms of, because of this reservation, though it will take some time. I know by 2029 it will be able to come on the ground. However, it is a huge step, and being from the local governance, I can understand it, how helpful it would be for the people like me, for the women like me who look forward to come in the politics and they want to grow in politics. So, as in local governance, the reservation
Dolly, your own experience as Sarpanch. You know, there is this
Yes.
point that has been often made that will this be just tokenism? If there is no reservation for women from the OBC section, as the opposition has been demanding, then it will be only a certain group of women who may be just hijacking this, as the view from certain blocks are, and the real representation will not happen. What are your thoughts on this as someone who works at the Panchayati Raj level?
In starting, it may seem like that it is no part of tokenism, but if you see in some, like in 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, for sure it will strengthen our democracy. See, when I contested election, I contested from general seat, but when I see in my team, 8 of the women are out of 13, that means more than 50%, they are coming from general seat also, from some reserved seat also. So it is for sure in long run is not going to be a part of tokenism. In the starting, yes, because of some, influence or some family legacy, it may happen. But down the line, I have seen women who, contested for first term and then they again contested, and they see that change in themselves, the change in leadership, the change in their own family, the change in their power, because this is a journey and it takes time. So this will for sure strengthen our democracy, and we were waiting for this because we were not there in legislation, we were not there in parliament. Now this is a historic day, and really I am very, very happy sitting on the seat of Sarpanch. I can look forward now to become, MLA or MP, and people like me, women like me, who have really dreams to, grow in the politics.
One misnomer I would say also about Bihar is that वहाँ पर सरपंच पति होते हैं, that women are rubber stamp representatives. In reality, the real strings are pulled up by the men. They hold the real strings.
Yes, it is. I won't say that it is not, but there is a story behind it. I mean, you would see that how, if you are talking about only Bihar, I would say it's in whole India, and the history of women's slaveness, the discrimination women have faced. I mean, they really need a support structure where they can enhance their leadership skills, where they can have that structure where they can speak, then put their voice up front. And on my personal capacity, I am running a campaign which is against no to Sarpanch Pati culture under the chain.org, and this is my campaign to stop this Sarpanch Pati culture. However, as I mentioned earlier also, the people, the women who are continuously coming repeatedly after winning the elections, they are, much good leaders than earlier. It is a journey. I mean, it cannot be changed in only one term or something like that. Government has to think about.
Before I let you go, I just want to understand, being a Sarpanch, what changes have you brought about? Changes in the lives of women and changes at the grassroots, which has led to larger impact.
So the first and foremost change, I made it in my whole panchayat, made it very clear that there won't be any proxy representation in my team. Every women elected representative is coming and they are responsible for their own work. Even now the youth and the girls are looking for politics as a career. Earlier, as it used to be a tag that politics is bad, youth is not wanting to enter the politics, but I see that thing in their eyes when they look our work in terms of justice, and
so things are changing.
We are doing
things
for
are
equality.
changing.
Yes.
Dolly, we certainly hope that you land in Bihar Assembly or maybe in the Lok Sabha soon. Thank you so much. So there are several questions that are related to implementation. I'm going to take those questions to the constitutional experts. But before that, here's what happened in Parliament today.
भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस की मांग कि यह बिल फौरन अमल में लाया जाए, लेकिन इसके साथ ही कास्ट सेंसस कराकर शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब, ओबीसीज की महिलाओं के आरक्षण की व्यवस्था की गई।
कुछ पार्टियों के लिए महिला सशक्तिकरण का नारा ये चुनाव जीतने का एक हथियार हो सकता है, परंतु मेरी पार्टी और मेरे नेता नरेंद्र मोदी जी के लिए महिला सशक्तिकरण राजनीतिक मुद्दा नहीं है। फिर से सुनिए, मेरी पार्टी और मेरे नेता नरेंद्र मोदी जी के लिए महिला सशक्तिकरण राजनीतिक मुद्दा नहीं, मान्यता का सवाल है, मान्यता का सवाल।
So I can't understand what this is. I'd like to quote the Mahatma Gandhi in this. When the Cripps mission, sir, if you remember, you're such a learned member, he had mentioned when the Cripps mission had happened that post-dated check drawn from a crashing bank. That's what I felt when I saw this.
Thank you.
If this is a post-dated check given by them.
Thank you.
और ये वक्त हमारा बिल है तो अभी करिए। तो महोदय, ये उस बिल की प्रति है जिनको वो हमारा कहते हैं। यूपीए जिसकी अध्यक्षा श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी हैं, उन्होंने कहा है नो सीट शैल बी रिजर्व्ड फॉर विमेन बिलोंगिंग टू शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट, शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स इन द 3rd जनरल इलेक्शन। 3B पढ़ें तो उन्होंने कहा, प्रस्ताव दिया, no seat shall be reserved for women in the 3rd general election.
If delimitation is going to be based on population census, it will deprive and reduce the representation of the South Indian states.
Correct.
It will become like a sword hanging on our heads.
One question that is not being answered is that why bring a bill which cannot be implemented immediately? Let me take that question and try and break down various thoughts about implementation from two constitutional experts. Professor Faizan Mustafa is a renowned constitutional expert and currently serving as the Vice Chancellor of Chanakya Law University in Patna, Bihar. Vikas Singh, former Additional Solicitor General of India, is also joining me. Professor Faizan Mustafa, the fulfillment of this promise that has been made will await multiple exercises, be it the delimitation and also the census. Let me ask you a direct question. When will this become reality?
Thank you very much, Maria. Since the announcement from the government is absolutely clear that they want to wait for the census as well as the delimitation exercise. And since the delimitation exercise is due in a few years' time, around 2026, I would expect that the bill will come into being sometime before the next Lok Sabha election. And generally what has happened, Maria, the story of most or almost all reservation policies or extension of reservation policies for various groups has been that most of the reservation policies in India were announced on the eve of either the general election or some assembly election or even some important by-election. So P.V. Narasimha Rao had announced the implementation of Mandal Commission in 1991 when he was himself going to be elected in a by-election. As you recall, that he was not originally given the ticket of Lok Sabha due to his ill health, and then Rajiv Gandhi had a tragic assassination and Congress had numbers and Narasimha Rao was appointed as the Prime Minister. So he was going to his own election as a Prime Minister. At that point of time, that office memo implementing the Mandal Commission recommendations, including the EWS reservation, was issued. So unfortunately, the constitutional and legal reforms, which ideally should be delinked from electoral arithmetics, in India, the case has been otherwise. And most of these affirmative action or reservation decisions were made keeping in mind the next election or election due in a few months' time.
But Professor Faizan Mustafa, one concern is that EWS quota is based on 2011 census. Couldn't the same template have been followed for women's reservation as well?
When we did EWS reservation, we did not wait for numbers. No empirical study was done to see that EWS sections of our population are inadequately represented. That was never done. Similarly here, facts are speaking for themselves. The women representation is very, very low. They ideally should be occupying 50% of seats, and we are giving them just 33%. And we can straight away do it. But I feel that the government wants to wait for the delimitation exercise, and probably the catch is that some of the southern states may not agree to delimitation because the influence of northern states with much greater numbers in Lok Sabha would make South irrelevant.
Help us understand about this sunset clause, that this reservation will be for a fixed period.
So gender-based reservation is already there in the panchayats. And
yes, that's right.
In this also they have a sunset clause of 15 years, but there are sunset clause in the original parliament and original constitution also when reservation was brought in for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, and it was 10 years and it has been extended all the time. So I don't think that should be a limitation. According to me, this reservation should continue till the representation of women is adequate in the parliament. And if it doesn't become adequate in the next, say, 15 years, then obviously it will have to be continued. But if by 15 years, if it is seen that more and more women are getting into the legislatures by virtue of their merit, or more women are contesting for these elections, then probably this reservation may not be required. But a lot of rethinking will have to happen. The political parties will have to start looking for women candidates. Women will have to also be in the forefront for, doing social work and being recognized for their social work. They are actually doing a lot of this work, but unfortunately they're not being picked up. I think criminalization will come down because if you see women, the criminal antecedents of women will be much lower. Women in public life will be much lower than what it is there in amongst men in public life. So I think that also will be a very big advantage which the system will get when you will get, and you will also get, according to me, more educated people coming into the parliament, because the women who will aspire for getting into the legislatures invariably will be far more educated than men who aspire to get into the legislature. So all these benefits, I feel, would definitely happen the moment this bill is implemented after 2026.
Okay, Mr. Vikas Singh, could it have followed a different assessment rather than wait till the census and delimitation? It almost seems that several years women will have to still wait before it actually becomes a reality that women can sit in the Lok Sabha or the state assemblies based on this reservation.
I think it could have. I feel that there was no need to wait for this census, because census is already delayed. This could have been implemented on the basis of the last census that we had, and which is also a fairly accurate figure. Ultimately, the idea is to give women representation only. And if a woman gets, into the assembly from a particular constituency rather than another constituency, really hardly matters as far as the advantage that is sought to be given to women by bringing more and more women in the legislature. So I feel that this could have been done for this election to start with, and after 26 census they could have implemented it on the basis of that from the next election onward. So that way, this benefit of giving reservation to women would have kicked in immediately.
Professor Faizan Mustafa and Mr. Vikas Singh, really appreciate your time and thank you for putting the story in context for our viewers and sharing your perspectives. We also have a very special guest. Deepa Malik was in fact in Parliament when the history was in making. She is a renowned Paralympian of India. Deepa, you have made your mark in the world of sports. You're not directly associated with politics, if I may say, but what were your thoughts when you were seeing things unfold, that political representation, which was long overdue, will become a reality?
I was present today at the new parliament, and first of all, I will compliment Honorable Modi ji for making it so accessible, because that has always been his focus, to make any building of the government or any building, जिसे कहते हैं सुगम्य भारत, accessible India campaign. So yes, my wheelchair could reach everywhere. That is what something I was looking forward to go and see
Deepa,
the new parliament.
I was speaking to a Sarpanch just a few seconds back, and she said that she's hopeful that she'll land in Lok Sabha soon as a parliamentarian. Can we see you in a different role, wearing a different hat?
I have always, my life journey has steered suddenly into new directions. I have been a person who's always been open to new learnings, from being a homemaker to contributing into policy making for disability sports, to then encouraging youth to Fit India movement, Beti Bachao movement. I absolutely align with the vision of New India, and if ever my services are required, I'll be more than happy to contribute. But I am happy that in whatever role I am, even now, as a citizen of India also, I actively contribute in nation building, and that's the duty of every woman who is a citizen of India. You have to take on some responsibility which is beyond yourself and which is larger than your personal goals, and it is in the direction of nation building.
Yes, thank you so much, Deepa. It certainly is a momentous occasion. We are hoping that the bill will be passed by the Rajya Sabha tomorrow. But it has been a long journey. Women of India have waited for years and years. A journey which has been about multiple introduction efforts, but it was not passed. Finally, it will become a reality. Here's a look back, a flashback into the journey of the Women's Quota Bill.
December 1992. The landmark 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Acts, reserving 1/3 of seats for women in Panchayati Raj institutions and in urban local bodies. P.V. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister then. Cut to September 1996. The H.D. Devegowda government introduced the bill mandating 33% reservation for women in Lok Sabha and assemblies. Prominent leaders of the United Front coalition like Lalu Prasad Yadav and Mulayam Singh Yadav from the Samajwadi Party vehemently opposed it. The bill lapsed after being referred to the Geeta Mukherjee Committee. A year later, in 1997, the bill was reintroduced in Lok Sabha by the United Front government after I.K. Gujral became the Prime Minister.
और मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि जब तक पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन में महिलाओं की भागीदारी नहीं बढ़ेगी, तब तक उनके मसलों का समाधान नहीं हो सकेगा, और ये बिल उस समाधान की दिशा में एक मील का पत्थर साबित होगा.
But it lapsed yet again. Former JDU President Sharad Yadav's "क्या परकटी औरतें हमारी महिलाओं की सुरक्षा कर सकते हैं?" comment reflected the antagonistic sentiments in the House. In 1998, the Atal Bihari Vajpayee-led National Democratic Alliance government pushed the bill in the Lok Sabha. AIADMK leader M. Thambidurai, the then Minister of Law, introduced the bill in the House. But Rashtriya Janata Dal leader Surendra Kumar Yadav, who was a key opposition MP, snatched the papers and tore them into bits. Repeated efforts to get women their due continued to no avail. In 2003, the Vajpayee-led government once again introduced the bill, but once again, it did not muster the support required to become law.
तो ये जान झूठ जाना कि खुशी से मर न जाते अगर एतबार होता, तो खुदा के लिए एतबार करा दीजिए, मुझे मंजूर है मर जाना।
In 2008, it was the turn of the Manmohan Singh-led UPA government to give it a shot. This time, the bill was introduced in the Rajya Sabha twice. Despite the BJP and left parties supporting it fully, it ended up before a standing committee. Relentless efforts to get women their due in Lok Sabha continued, as did the opposition.
लेकिन बिगड़ आंदोलन के यहाँ कुछ महिलाएं इकट्ठी हो जाएंगी और कहेंगी महिला रिजर्वेशन। हो सकता है हमारे पास संख्या ना हो, लेकिन मैं कहता हूं सुकरात अकेला बढ़ गया जहर खाकर। हम जहर खा के सदन में मर जाएंगे, लेकिन सच यह है कि हिंदुस्तान के 90-95% लोगों को गला काट कर दिए महिला रिजर्वेशन लाना चाहिए।
In 2010, the three Yadavs, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Lalu Prasad Yadav and Sharad Yadav found their nemesis.
ऐसी लड़कियां आएंगी उद्योगपतियों की, बड़े बड़े अफसरों की, या लड़कियों को देखकर लड़के पीछे से सीटी बजाएंगे। हाँ, बता रहा हूं आपको, नहीं मैं बता रहा हूं, इसलिए बता रहा हूं कि आपका माथा ठनके, आपको गुस्सा आए, गांव-गांव पहुंचे बात और बड़े आंदोलन के तैयार हो जाना।
It took three formidable women from three rival parties to get the historic legislation passed on 9th March 2010 in the Rajya Sabha with 186 to 1 votes.